Hi, my name is Michael. Today we're going to be learning how to use WebCRD and ReadyPrint to process a policy. Some of these items may change because right now they are on the developer server, but I'm just going to walk everybody through what needs to be done to process in ReadyPrint. I'm assuming that everyone is comfortable with processing a policy, is comfortable with the order that everything goes in. This is just to do it via ReadyPrint and WebCRD. Okay, so the first thing, you need to have your WebCRD open. You need to have your FedEx Ship Manager open. And you need to have InfoPrint open. So right now, this file right here is the policy that needs to be split. So right now it's on the developer server, the 06 server. Eventually that's going to be in the main 08 server, which is where the policies normally come in. Just for the purposes of this recording, we are doing 06. So here's the file here. So you would need to change the destination to the file splitting virtual server, which right now is Enfield 1. Again, this is probably going to change once it moves over to the 08. This is going to be called something else probably. But right now, that's our file splitter. We're going to release that. And that will take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to process. So I'm going to leave this open down here on the bottom so we can check on it occasionally, make sure it's working. Those files will split into this folder, which it's located in the main NBA policy output folder where all of the policies are. It's this folder right here, policy prod files, do not delete. So once those files process, they will show up as individual policy files in this folder right here. So while that's processing, we can be setting up our first policy. Under WebCRD here, we discovered that if we add all of these items at once, it considers it as one big file, and it's very difficult to move things around. So the way we worked around that was to take one item, the mailing label, let's say, and drag it over here. When it uploads there, it'll ask you for a book name. We're just going to call this test 1008 because that's today. And once that's in there, we'll go to assemble book and add to cart. It'll ask us for an order name. So we'll just say the same thing, test 1008, continue that. It's going to want a quantity here. It won't let you proceed unless you put at least one in there. And it's always going to be one because we're doing one policy at a time. So we'll put one under quantity. It wants a cost center. It won't let you proceed without it. Our cost center is 2091-83001. And the percentage is going to be 100%. So we'll place that order. Order submitted. Order number is 38. So we'll go back here. We were on ordering, so we're going to production. And in the production queue at the bottom should be number 38, which is right here. This is the one we just did. We go over here to the magnifying glass for the details. There is our item, test 1008. And we are ready to open this up in ReadyPrint so that we can start the process. This button right here, ReadyPrint. Open that file. there's our one page. Okay, get things situated here. Okay, so under document information here, it's going to list everything in the current set, and you'll get a visual over on the right side here. So before we start adding these items, we need to go into the FedEx Ship Manager. I'm going to open up this mailing label so we can see it a little bit larger. Okay, this is what we need to enter into here. But for the purposes of this recording, you would type all this in over here, but I'm just going to use what's in here already, just to speed things along a little bit. That would be one weight, one value. Make sure your reference number, this is the same number that we used earlier in WebCRD. That's our account number. Click ship. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so when we print this, we would use print to PDF to make a PDF copy to put into this folder. So we're printing to PDF. We'll call it US, change the name here to FedEx. And that file will show up right over here. There it is, right there. So everything is almost ready to move over. There's our processed items. These are all the policies that processed from here. Well, it's still printing. It's not quite complete yet, but we're going to take one of these and pretend that it's the correct one. I'm going to take this and move it over into the folder. And that will serve as our legitimate policy over here. Okay, so we have everything over here that is ready to assemble in ReadyPrint. Get rid of some of these things. Okay, there we go. So what we need to do is move all of these items, with a few exceptions, over to ReadyPrint to manipulate them, move them around in the correct order. The only things that we don't want moved are the FedEx label, the policy brochure added. We don't need, nope, we need everything else. All right, so we'd go over here to from file, we're inserting everything over here into ReadyPrint. Starting after the document, meaning after this page. And we're going to go into the main folder here and do what I did over here, which is select everything except FedEx, the brochure. The current FedEx that I'm using here is going over. That's going to be the first page. So we will open all of those, and that'll take a minute to populate here. Unfortunately, you can't continue, you can't work on it while it's loading. So you just have to wait. Okay, while that's finishing up, I'm going to open the delivery letter here. That tells you what items on the left side need to be in what order. So I'm just going to open a copy of this so that we can use it for reference. These items under action required. You should know this if you have experience with the policy assembly. These items need to be rearranged in this order here. So looks like this is finished. I'm gonna expand this out a little so you can see some more of it. All right, you can see everything is plexed one-sided. All right. So we can close all these, collapse this. Every time you move something here and change the order, it's going to expand back out. So you need to go up there and collapse everything every time you move something. So we're going to take this FedEx label. We're going to click and drag and move it up to the top so that it's the first item. That stays single-sided. Collapse everything. Put the delivery letter right up there. So the order that we're going to put all of these items in is application amendment, supplemental health statement, IUL, the SDR here, 2 copies of the illustration. Actually, one more thing that we need to add is when you try to duplicate an item in here, for whatever reason, any change you make to one will be made to the other one. And these 2 copies of the illustration need to be slightly different. So I'm going to find the illustration right there. And we're going to add another illustration. After the selection, we're just going to add the illustration one more time so that there are 2. And that will take a second. Okay, we're going to collapse all this again. There are our 2 illustrations. But in order to get everything in this order, you grab the amendment first, drag that up right underneath the delivery letter. Next up is the supplemental health statement. I'm going to collapse that, grab the SHS, move it up right underneath the amendment. Collapse. IUL. Right there. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Okay, IUL, right underneath the SHS. Collapse. The state required delivery receipt is right there. Move that right underneath the IUL. Collapse. And then there are our 2 illustrations. So I'm going to grab both of those, move them up right underneath the SDR. Collapse. Okay, so everything up until the illustration goes on the left side. So everything that is not requested to be returned, all of these items need to go at the end of the policy. So I'm going to drag these down to the bottom. Collapse. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? The we have an extra mailing label here. Move that up next to the other mailing label. So we need 2 of those. Collapse. All right, so there's one other item here that needs to go on the left at the back. I'm gonna zoom in on that so you can see what it is. It's named something other than it should be. I don't know why that is. It's the notice of underwriting action. You should be familiar with that. So everything from the policy down to the bottom is going to be one stapled item, except for the fact that part of the policy goes on the left, part goes on the right. There we go, document view. The first page of the policy is the incorrect address that always gets snipped. So we're going to take that and its backside and remove those, making the first page of the policy this. Okay. So to avoid any confusion, this is the first page of the actual policy that gets printed on a special cardstock. So just so that we can identify it a little easier and so that it gets printed on the right paper, I'm going to change the media to blue. We're going to single side that. Shrink this back down. Okay, so before that, sorry, collapse there. Policy, find our blue page. Everything from this blue page on is that one stapled item. So we need to put a slip sheet in before this to inform the DR where the split point is. Everything before the slip sheet goes in the left side, everything after goes in the right side. I'm going to click that. We're going to insert a blank page before the selection. This one right here. We're going to color that red so that it pulls from the correct tray. And that is single-sided, okay. So that's our split point. Everything from this to the end is stapled. But before we do that, we need to check to make sure that everything has the right number of pages. If it's an odd number of pages, we need to add a blank page after each one of these so that the top of each item is in a front-facing page. So open this up, go down here to the last one, and insert a blank page after the selection. And this is one of those bugs that I'm told is going to be fixed in future updates. But when I added the page, it considers it the first page of the next document. So you have to go in here, click on it, move it up so that it's part of the document that you actually added it to. So there are these 4 pages. This one is single-sided. We're just going to do this again. Blank page after selection. The first page of the next item is the blank page. So again, we're going to click on this, move it up. This will certainly be easier once they fix this little bug. This item, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. We're going to insert a blank page after that one. There is the blank page we need to move up to make it part of the previous document. And the last one is 3 pages. Well, that isn't the last one. One more time. Insert a blank page after selection. I'm going to grab that white page and move it up. There it goes. So the last item, oh, that's only 2 pages. Okay, that works out. So once we have all the blank pages inserted, I'm going to go up here to the first blue page, make sure that's selected, scroll down to the bottom and shift click the last page so that only those items are selected. Whoa, went too far. There we go. Okay, so everything from here to the end is plexed 2-sided. And it is all stapled together. So to finishing options, staple, single portrait top left. That's going to give us our subset. That's an indicator that it is configured differently than the rest of the document. So we'd go up here to policy and everything before the red slip sheet, we're going to plex that double-sided. And the last, let's see here. The last section just before the slip sheet includes this page, which is this one, the buyer's guide. The buyer's guide gets stapled. So let's see, that's page 90 for reference. Okay, so page 90 to the page just before the slip sheet, those 4 pages get stapled. So I'm going to right click, finish that, staple it top left. All right, I sort of did this backwards. I'm working from the bottom. Normally I would work from the top. I don't know why I did that, but all right, all of these individual single page items are correct. All of these items requested to be returned here that are at the top of the document, those all need to be single-sided, and it shows that they are. There's the amendment, there's the SHS, the IUL, delivery receipt, those are all single-sided as they should be. So those are all correct. Now, the first illustration, we're going to plex that double-sided and staple it. Finishing staple top left. Okay, that gives us, actually that's our first subset. The next subset it's going to call something else. Every time you make a change to something where you plex it differently, put a staple in it, it's going to name it a different subset. So there's our first illustration, that's correct. The second illustration is going to be just like the first, except it gets an item added to the first page. So we're going to do the easy part first. Plex it, two-sided. Finishing staple top left. Okay, so in that second illustration, this one, the first page is page 46. Going to blow that up. Oh, we would go up here to edit. We're going to add an annotation. I'm going to import that from the file. We're going to make sure that you have that included on your desktop. This one right here, copy. So what that does is it adds this annotation to the top of the second illustration. All right, that's finished. I think everything is finished. Let me double check it here. Oh, there's one extra item here. This item, which is after this item. I'm going to open the bookmarks. Document editor. Take that down, and we're going to take this item and move it right before there it was, subset 2 right there. So we're going to move this directly in front of page 90, which is right there. Okay, now we are finished. Everything is in order. Everything is as it should be. So all you need to do at this point is print it. If you're printing directly, if this is a day-to-day operation, you would print it to one of the printers. Let's say Bell 1. You would click print there. It would print the whole thing out in order, all configured correctly. But if it is an emergency situation and you're sending this to the DR, you would print this to DR policies right there. As soon as you send this, that gets dropped into their SFTP folder where the DR can process it. All right, once you're finished printing and you QC it, the only thing left to do is to return it to WebCRD. So you would go to Return to Source, click Return to Source, None of the stapling is supported by WebCRD, but we are not documenting the configuration. We're only trying to capture the number of clicks, which will be counted if you say yes here. So we'll say yes, returning to WebCRD, and that is the end of it.